Hey everybody, welcome back to Project Overflow. We're so excited to come back for part 2 of money management in terms of legacy planning. All right, so if you've missed out the first part, which we talk about the concept of this, it's quite interesting topic to talk about. In fact, we had so much disruption, and we think that, really, maybe some powers out there don't want us to talk to you guys about this, but you know what? We're doing our best, and again, we want to share this disclaimer. Whatever that we share here, we're not professionals. We don't have license to do this, but we're just two family men talking about what we are doing, and we would like for you to respond in terms of putting in the comments. Maybe you have other secrets or your recipe sauce into legacy planning that you'd like to share with us. Do place that in the comments. Okay, so if you're here for the first time, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Smash that like button, because this will get the algorithm to show it out to more people out there. All right, turn on the notification bell, because then you'll be notified every time we make a video. All right, so if you've got any questions, do use the link at the comment section below, or the link in the description box to ask your question anonymously. All right, so we're going to go and talk about part 2 in terms of legacy planning. We want to look at various channels or opportunities that we can actually do this legacy planning on. Right, in the first session that we were in our last episode, Zuan actually did talk about two channels or two ways to do it. Okay, one of it was called endowment plan, which is an insurance policy. I think in today's terms, I don't think endowment policy is there anymore, right? Yeah. So what can people do if they are starting out now? Good.
Okay, so I don't think it's called the concept is still an endowment, but I don't think it's called an endowment plan anymore. But there are definitely investment link, or what they call a savings plan, that comes with an insurance. So do check with your insurance agent or even your financial planner to get more details on that. But basically, what that is what from what I understand is for savings, and on top of that you get insurance, and also you get a certain return, which is return which I cannot put what is the percentage now, because it's all determined by our central bank here and what are the rates, right? So do go and check with your insurance agent or your financial planner to get the product disclosure. Or the fact sheet of what you're putting your money into. So and usually an endowment plan or this savings plan, it lasts anywhere between 15, 20, or even more. 20 is it's a long-term thing. And I also benefit from that, because my dad actually started that for me, and it paid for my university education. So that is the vehicle that we were talking about in the previous episode. And the second vehicle that I came to realize, that for me is, before that, my understanding of it was very shallow, is life insurance, right? So how I bought my life insurance back then is with that mindset of, oh, it's good to have, because if anything happens to me, then there's this sum of money to be left behind. And until my financial planner actually asked me, why are you buying your life insurance for? What is the purpose? Then it got me thinking. And when he asked me, my answer was, oh, it's good to have law, and everybody has a life insurance, right? So then he actually taught me the purpose of it. You can actually intentionally buy a life insurance for a certain purpose, and the first purpose is for, I found out, is you can actually use it for debt cancellation. So if you for my case is, let's say if I have a property now, and if anything happens to me, what is the balance debt? Then instead of paying for the property, I can also set up a life insurance. If anything happens to me, then this amount can be used to clear that debt. Okay, so that it can be for debt cancellation. Number two, the purpose of it can be as a gift, or like in this topic is an inheritance, but in this terms it's inheritance as a resources, right? That we can actually how much do we plan to leave behind in terms of monetary for our spouse, or to even take care of the funeral and whatnot, right? So we can actually do that and also have some amount to be left for our children or children. So that actually triggered me of thinking, hey, then whatever life insurance I have is not enough. It doesn't serve that purpose, which I then have to review and do a review and retune my life insurance and how I'm buying it to suit those purposes. And because I wanted to do two things, so just sharing my experience and what I've done. So I told my planner that my main concern is, number one is I need the debt cancellation one to be done first. And the second thing is I want to leave something behind for my loved ones. Okay, and he gave me a calculation because, like I said, check again with financial planner. So he says a good gauge is the life insurance policy for what I want to do to serve that purpose. It should be 10 times my annual income. So that is how he calculate and reverse calculate on the premium. All right. So I know this is numbers are coming in, but then again, these are certain ways to go about it. Always ask more questions, and then you get clearer on what you need to do. So that is how I did it. And I purchased, because of that purpose, I also have to purchase two separate life insurance policy because what I found out is if I claim one, then the other one would it's more versatile to have two. Okay, then I can use it for different things. And in the previous episode, Eugene also mentioned, right, a lot of times when somebody receives a huge sum of money, they go crazy or they don't know what to do with it. And that's why the wealth is lost. It won't last 3 generations. So in order to do that, if your life policy amount is a lot, right, then you need to do what we call insurance planning as well. It's not disperse one shot. You can actually plan it in your will to do that, like how to handle that. So that is the second vehicle, which is actually life insurance, but you can do a lot of things with it. And the third vehicle that we spoke about in the previous episode is actually trust. Okay, so trust is the purpose of it is for capital preservation. So this is like at the pinnacle of estate planning. So and I also found out that trust actually supersedes will, and trust is actually something that you can pass down, and a lot of wealthy families actually build their legacy that they leave behind by utilizing a trust. Okay, so so this is the vehicles that I've known of and I'm familiar with, because it's personally what I'm learning and using as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Zuen, for refreshing our minds on the two vehicles. And I think it's quite interesting, right? I for one, when Zuen brought this up and we were talking, and that's also the reason why I felt that, hey, many people should know this, because although I have insurance policy, and just like him, I understand that the insurance policy is to leave some money behind and so on and so forth. But to talk about it specifically, to have different policies for different purposes, use it as a tool to be able to do which you want to do in terms of protecting the assets that you have for the generations to come, or your next of kin. Okay, so in that sense, right? So I think a lot of people will not understand this if they bought a house and if they actually had a joint, let's say a joint name ownership. A lot of people don't really realize this, that in the joint name ownership, it is not exclusive. To that, if it's a joint ownership, then if one spouse deceases or ceases to live, then the house will go to the next, the other person. Actually, that's not true, right? Because it goes to the bank, and in fact, you leave a debt. Okay, so that's what Zuen was talking about just now by, to do debt cancellation. I think that is such a good point. Okay, so if you're taking down notes, do find out more about this. Talk to your agent. The second thing that I found really interesting, what you just said, was that, although I've had multiple insurance agents through the years, but none of them actually, except probably for one that is the most recent one, who is also a friend, that talked a little bit more accurately, but even then it's not as clear as what you have talked about. So I don't know where you're finding your insurance agents from, but they sound super duper, right? So guys, there are insurance agents out there, and that's why buying it online versus buying it through an agent, there is a huge difference. So look for someone that can help you with that. Okay, and if you're one that loves going online to do research and want to buy online, then do search out this information about the possibilities of how to plan the insurance policies that you're buying, because a lot of the products out there now goes to people who don't want to care less. They just say, I want pao ka liao. Okay, sorry, I'm using a colloquial term. That means a package, everything packaged into one. I think we had this conversation, Zuan, why it's not good to have your life insurance, your personal accident insurance, your medical card, and the policy that you want to use for the purpose of debt cancellation to be all in one. I think we talked about that, right? So, but instead of going lengthily into that, but then again, if you want to know more about this, tell us in the comments below, and we'll make an episode just about that. Okay, but I just want to skim through that because there are other opportunities or other asset classes that we can be utilizing to also then further secure or that is different in terms of achieving a different purpose within the legacy planning. Okay, so definitely insurance. The next one that he talked about just now was what he calls a trust, okay, will and trust. I think that's another thing that I think there is so little education or understanding about. A lot of the will and writing a will that we understand is actually from the television, right? Where people are suing each other and all that. Actually, it's not. Yes, that is part of it, but it doesn't need to be like that if it is done properly and planned well. So a will is what you write when you pass away, what happens to the assets. Mm-hmm. But a trust supersedes that. So I just want to bring that, he just went past that and many people have missed that. So the trust will supersede a will. So the trust is actually an entity set up to then, and you can place your assets in there for protection and also for management. Okay, so do more research on your own, but if you would like to know more, and maybe we'll put out a poll for you to vote. Would you like to hear from a professional talking about trust? Maybe we'll bring the guest in to talk with us, right? Because I'm also very interested in this area. Although I did some reading up after meeting Zuan, but I think having someone in here would be great. What do you think? Okay, so if you like that idea, okay, make sure you like, subscribe, but also comment below that you like us to interview someone who is professional, who has this knowledge. Okay, so I want to bring out other instruments that you can have, right? So the other thing that actually have grown tremendously is things like gold and silver, and we're talking about physical gold and silver. Why gold and silver and not keep it in cash in bank? Okay, because the cash that we have in the bank actually depreciates in value much faster than gold and silver, because those are assets that keeps the value quite steadily, and it steadily increases because of its finiteness of it. Okay, that means the world has got so much gold and silver. After it's all been dug up, that's all there is. Okay, so they can't manufacture more of it. But money in terms of currency notes, that can be printed over and 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 over again. Okay, that's what making our buying power go lower and lower each and every day. So if you earn $1,000 and put it in the bank 10 years ago, that $1,000 at that time, like again I said, you can buy a coffee from a coffee shop for R1.50. Today, it's lost half its value buying the same cup of coffee at $2.50 or $3 now, right? If you go to a coffee shop, right? So if you look at that, it's the same 1,000 ringgit would have lost half its value. 50% of the purchasing power is gone, right? But if you look at the value of gold, it doesn't go down. It probably doesn't really go up. Okay, through the years, if you look at the price of gold, it's escalated, it's gone up because it is finite. That means you can't manufacture more of it. So the demand, when demand is more than supply, then the prices will go up. So there is another asset class that you could be keeping, as part and parcel of your legacy planning. Okay, so the new gold and silver that is around now, again, this is only my, for me, my prediction. Okay, and it's my understanding and knowledge. Okay, so please do not take this as something that you should do. Okay, this is what I've done. Another way for me is in 2017, I actually placed a bit of money into Bitcoin. All right, and at the time it was $3,000. Currently, even with the drop, it's now still sitting at $36,000 per coin. So if you imagine that, right, it's gone up from 3,000 to 36,000. It's gone up 10, 11 times, okay, 12 times or whatever that is, okay. So, and we foresee if the technology and when it takes off, it's going to be much more, right? So I'm not a speculator. I'm not a someone that trades the cryptocurrency, but I buy because I understand the future, and that was because of my banking and understanding of where the financial market is going. And I think there is huge potential. I didn't put all the money in there. So again, I've got some insurance. I'm still looking at will and trust, and trying to learn more about that. I've got some gold and silver, and also a little bit in cryptocurrency, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, so if you want to know which are the two that I'm looking at, I'm not, again, disclaimer. I'm not asking you to buy that, okay? But I'm just saying that, hey, this is what I'm looking at. And it's good to keep your eyes open to what is happening, because the people who didn't understand this in my parents' time, they look at it and say, oh, this is very dangerous. This is something that is, and they didn't do anything about it. And let's say they place all their money under their bed, their currency notes under their bed. The 1 ringgit has changed multiple times. Okay, we don't need, and it went to a coin, and it went back into dollar note, there was a $2, and all the different changes, and the old notes now is invalid already. So if they had placed it and they didn't trust anything, they didn't study more about it, they would have lost 100% of the value. But if they placed it in the bank, at least, but still, they would have lost 50%. So the whole idea is, how do we do capital preservation? How do we now ensure that we are doing our best in order to leave something behind other than that? I think that is very crucial. So we've covered, a will, a trust, insurance. We've covered precious metals, and we've also covered, the future, which is in crypto or in blockchain, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. So there's another one is into companies. If you look at the major companies that have last years and years and years, if you buy a particular company, a company may go broke. But if you buy a basket of companies, these companies that have been there for ages, long ago, in Malaysia, we call them blue chip. If you can buy a basket of them, that's another way that it will last, depending on the purpose you're doing it and the length of time that you want to look at it. Okay, so I'm gonna leave all these different things. I know it's a very heavy subject, and we've opened cans and cans of worms with all the different ones. But don't worry, right? If you've got questions, just ask in the comments below, and we will do our best to answer based on our understanding. And also, if you're a viewer and you've got understanding in this, please also do help us out to share your understanding and your ideas so that we all can learn from this. And that's how overflow comes about. All right, so Zuen, any last words before we end this section?
No, I think we've covered way a lot in this video. So maybe the next one, we just see where the feedback is, and maybe we can then address it in the next episode.
Yeah, I think we'll do that. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming by and coming to visit us in this particular session. And if you like what we do, don't forget to like and subscribe. Smash that like, okay? And subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified whenever we put up the next video. All right, we'll see you in our next session. We'll answer a different, also into investment, but a different kind of perspective to it. Okay, we'll see you in the next session. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.